Hi, and welcome back to Once Upon a Tiny Farm. My name's Drew. In today's video, I want to talk about ways that you can beautify your garden space that often this time of year, when things start to get really hot and we get lots of rain, it likes to encourage weed growth, and the weeds try to take over your farm and take away the beauty of the farm. But today, I'm going to fight back and use what I have, which is mulch, a weed whacker, and a new toy. I don't even know what you call this, but it's got a circular saw blade on the end of it, and we are gonna weed whack the crap out of this garden space and make it look really, really clean and nice and stress-free. So stick around. So the first issue that I want to address here is the walkways in between these beds. You see it's really bad here and almost as tall as some of my plants are in the bed. So we want to, what I'm going to do is weed whack all of this growth in the rows in between the beds, and I'm going to add a very, very thick layer of mulch that hopefully over time, as I step in it, will keep down all the weeds just from the weight of the mulch and also from walking on it all the time. So that's what I'm going to do right now, and then I'm going to address the growth on the back edge of this garden space where I have some thorny black raspberry vines growing in, some ivy. I'm going to take all of that out with that new tool that I just showed you and make it, I think I might use some pallets to actually make a back fence there, make it nice and clean, enclosed space there, and prevent that any future green growth from coming up there. So that's what I'm going to get to right now. So as you can see, weed whacked the alleyways in between the rows. Looks a lot better. We're going to add mulch there, and we also put down some cardboard for about 2.5 feet in front, and we're going to mulch in front too. And I think this is going to be a lot more inviting of a space, because a lot of us, me included, we go to the garden to de-stress, to stop worrying about everything going on in the world. But when you come to your garden and see a big weedy mess, it becomes very overwhelming, like a dirty house, and you feel like you need to do something, and this is me doing something. I hope we have a really nice transformation by the end of this video. So now I'm going to get to work before it gets too hot and add as much mulch in here as I can before I start working back there. So let's get to work. All right, so check out this. I've got about 2.5 feet of mulch in front of these beds. That looks so much better. Very clean. And you could see the walkways in between. Nice thick layer of pine bark mulch there. It smells really good. And there's probably about 3 or 4 inches of mulch there. And I have a lot more, so I might actually add another layer in time, because you can see as you step on it, it really pushes it down. And I was trying to do that as I did it with the pitchfork that I was using, but it's better just to walk on it. So I might just walk on all this stuff, stomp it down, and then do another layer for each. But man, I am really happy with how this looks now. It looks so much cleaner. And hopefully this will do a good job at suppressing the weeds. And over here, I wanted to show something I did on the edges, and I did over there as well on the other edge, is I used the black landscape fabric. And this is another way to suppress weeds without using mulch. And I just had an extra sheet here. And what I did was I put it about an inch or two under the wood there to try to prevent stuff from weeds from growing. But as you can see, the weeds don't care. They're actually growing in soil that's on top of the black fabric. But this is a lot more manageable to, I could just easily come through and pick those weeds. So this is another thing you could do. I could have, if I had more of this available, just use the black weed mat in between the rows for the walkways. But I used what I had, and after I got this mulch from my neighbor, I decided to use all of this, and I think it looks really, really nice. It might be a little bit more maintenance over time. I might need to add more mulch, but yeah, I mean, I guess it's all based on preference, but I really like the way it looks with the mulch right now. So those are your two options for weed prevention, is either start out with the landscape fabric or use heavy layer of mulch. So they both look nice. I think the mulch looks a little bit nicer personally. But yeah, what a transformation. All right, so I finished up this area, not the back area that I was talking about doing next, because there's a lot of black raspberries that I'm going to enjoy back there first before I trim all those, because they're ripening right now. But I did everything else I did. I'm really happy with. I mulched this side. I actually had another piece of black landscape fabric down, but I used, for some reason, I used a piece of landscape fabric that I already had holes in for growing lettuce, and through the holes I had lots of weeds growing, so that landscape fabric wasn't really working, and so I ripped it all out. And what I did here, obviously I mulched on this edge, and I really like how that looks. But also I lined the mulch with these grow bags that are also part of my 400 square foot garden plan, and I have them on this side. They're doing a good job of holding in a few inches of mulch there. I've got peppers, I've got some cucumbers that I just planted there. Actually direct seeded yesterday, so nothing there yet. In front here, I've got a line of potatoes, and these are, so the peppers are in 5-gallon bags. These are 10-gallon bags, and I put 2 to 3 potatoes in each bag. These might be done in a week or two. I'm gonna pick these, but the way I did it was I put about 2 or 3 bags in front of each bed and left a space in between so I could walk into the walkway for the beds. And it looks really, really clean. I really like the way this is coming together, because these grow bags, along with the mulch, they're doing a really good job. They're just like a living hedge here, because we're using them to grow stuff also. And that's just great. It adds to the greenery, and it just adds more food that we're growing in this 400 square foot area. And oh my goodness, I'm really happy with how this is looking. I'm still going to keep this black landscape fabric here on this edge because it's actually sloped down, and I think over time, if I did put mulch here, it would, when we get rain events, they would just roll down the hill there a little bit, and I'd constantly have to change that. So I'm just going to keep this. It looks pretty clean. But I have some tomatoes in here. They're actually really, really small. Like I just seeded these, and growing a kind called Tasmanian chocolate. That's a determinate tomato. That's how small they are. But they're growing. In these bags I have cucumbers, and I'm growing a bush cucumber called pickle bush. I'm trying to do more varieties in the containers that grow well in containers. So this pickle bush is designed to grow in a pot. So I have them all in 5-gallon bags. Some of them I actually have 2 plants in. Some of them is just one plant, but some of them have 2, but they look really, really healthy. And back there, that row of sweet potatoes, I overseeded that, overplanted that, so I took out the 2 rows there, so now we just have 3 rows. It looks a lot cleaner. I've got some weeding to do in this garden, but my goodness, I am really happy with how this turned out with all of this mulch. It looks really, really nice, and that makes me happy. Now this area here is the front of my farm, and I have fruit trees. I have plum tree there. I've got apple trees. I have a Jonathan apple tree, Honeycrisp, and a Macintosh over here. And then I have another plum tree on the end. And what I have here is very overgrown. I have grass that I've always had a tough time getting in here to mow. And I have 2 raised beds here that I basically just have for pollination to help with the fruit trees. So what I want to do here is use my new toy to whack down all of this grass around the edges, and I basically want to mulch this tree line as much as I can to make a nice clean line and give a little help to the trees for just for visual help, and also just to keep more moisture in the ground. So yeah, there's just so much grass around the trunk of these trees that I need to address this. So I'm gonna mow the grass as best I can, and then I'm gonna come in with the weed whacker, and then I'm gonna add some generous amounts of mulch around these raised beds and this whole treed area. So here we go. All right, so this I don't know what you would even call it, weed whacker with the metal blade. It's made by this brand called I never heard of, probably made in China, you know, like everything. But this kit, I just saw an ad for it on Amazon, because they were probably listening to my conversation when I was telling my wife a few weeks ago that I really need like a circular saw blade on my weed whacker to get some of the edges of the property. And sure enough, I see an ad for this that wasn't very expensive. I want to say it was less than $80. Came with 2 batteries. And it has this metal blade. It came with 2 circular saw blades, this is what I've been using. And this is really cool because it can like cut down little tree branches and stuff that you could reach to. So I really, really like that. But I've noticed when I'm just trying to do regular weed whacking, this can get jammed up pretty easily with like tall weeds and stuff. So I'm trying out for the first time this metal one. This is cool, but also it comes with a little like toolkit. I'm gonna put this down so I don't cut myself. It has a little toolkit. Makes it really easy to change the whatever thing you want to put on there. So it came with 2 of those metal blades and a whole bunch of these plastic ones. So I have another Ryobi weed whacker that I use all the time, and it's just a regular string trimmer, but the string always breaks. So like, I'm sure these will break too, but this is a strong plastic. So this is another thing that you could do where like I have like water lines and stuff over there where I want to weed whack, but I don't want to cut my water lines. So maybe I should be using these little plastic ones. They're a little serrated there. So I haven't tried these plastic ones yet, but right now I'm going to try the metal blade on there and get some stuff worked down around these trees, and then I'm going to put down a very thick layer of mulch. So let's do that. I'm actually not a big fan of this metal blade for at least the job that I'm doing right now. So I'm actually going to take this one off and put on one of the plastic serrated ones and see if that does cut any better. Some of this really light grass that's growing too tall. Yeah, how easy that was? I got a good feeling about this. Well, I see why they give you so many of these plastic guys, because they break easy. So maybe I'll go back to the metal blades like I started with. So this tool is definitely at its best, I think, with the circular saw blade, which is the reason that I got it. So I think I'm just going to keep this one on. But I want to see if I could do one more thing with it, and that is, I have a row of spinach that bolted like a month ago and just been sitting there, and that needs to come out. So if I could use this to help me with bed flips in the market garden, this could be a very, very valuable tool for me and save me a lot of time. So I'm going to try that right now. It does work, but it does get jammed up pretty easy, so I don't know, the jury's still out. Perhaps the metal blade on this would work better, the metal thin blade, but I'm gonna try to do this anyway. All right, it's getting late. I'm gonna wrap up this video, but I wanted to share what I got done today. I moved a heck of a lot of mulch, but I mulched this whole line here, my whole fruit tree line that lines the front of my farm. And yeah, I'm very, very happy with how this turned out. This was so much mulch, and I still have like half the pile left, so I'm gonna move it some other places around the property, but this really looks beautiful. Really looks beautiful. There's about 6 inches of mulch at least all the way down, so this should help suppress weeds. And now I can move on to other fun things like removing, well, I'm gonna get one more cut from these rows of lettuces, and then I got to take these out because you could see these weeds that are just overtaking the rows, and have to do some weeding in my carrot rows there. But man, everything's really green. Look at the sky, it's so pretty. I went through 3 different shirts today. It was very, very hot, got up to 90 degrees. It was very, very humid, and it's the time of year where I just get tired real quick because there's a lot of things that have to be done. There's a lot of rows that need to come out. There's a lot of things that need to go back into the ground. And this was just one thing that I really wanted to do to beautify my 400 square foot garden over there that I showed in the beginning of this video, and the front of my farm here. This looks really nice. I'm glad that I did it. And now I get to move on to other fun tasks like weeding, and tomorrow, basically all day, I'll be getting ready for Friday's farmer's market. So I'm gonna be busy, and I'm gonna try to get as much done in the morning as I can because it's gonna be probably hot again like today. Anyway, that's gonna wrap up this video on ways that you could beautify your farm space, your garden, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.